6-2. 6-0 in the AFC. Swept the Indianapolis Colts. That's only been done a couple of times. And yet.
Yep, and yet.
That's really all I got. And yet. This was a game that I watched at NRG Stadium. Joe, did you go to this one or did you stay home?
No, I stayed home for this one.
Yeah, to watch the game a little bit later, huh?
No, I watched this one live.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I meant this game that you saw later probably made you appreciate the win.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
100%.
Joe appreciates a good win today.
You know what, Texans, I love you. Thank you so much for not making my Sundays totally terrible.
Should have just jumped on the bandwagon, man. We gave you the
I'm on it. Texans hat.
You do have the Texans hat on today.
Hat on right here.
Not a Tyreek Stevenson hat. Interesting.
No comment. No comment on that one.
I think you have a comment. You're just not going to do it right now, which is fine.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll talk about the Texans. Let's talk about the Texans. Let's talk about a winning football team, okay? Let's talk about a team that's 6. Doesn't matter. 6-2, Paul. Doesn't matter, Paul.
What's furious, what drives you crazy about this team, infuriating, is that this whole game, they felt like they were winning by 3 scores.
They did.
The whole game. And yet, as I went up to go get some coffee, because I was falling asleep a little bit, the game was pretty boring in the second half. It was dragging. Texans weren't completing drives. Colts were doing nothing. Anthony Richardson couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. I go up to go get a coffee. This is right after the Texans had gotten down inside the Colts 10-yard line because this thing is about to be over. There's 3 minutes left. I'm not watching this live, and all of a sudden, I look up at the screen, and I see that C.J. Stroud and Joe Mixon had some sort of miscommunication on this pitch play, and all of a sudden, I figure, the Colts recover it. I continue to go back to getting my coffee. The Colt guy has all of a sudden gotten up and is running with the ball down the left sideline, untouched for a touchdown, and I'm thinking to myself, did the Rosencopter just happen again against the same team in the exact same kind of setting to give Indianapolis a lead in a game where, honestly, to that point, they had no business leading? And ultimately, it gets called back. But that play is, I think, very emblematic of how a great deal of this city feels about a team that is 6-2, undefeated in the AFC, undefeated in the AFC South, and yet still leaving a little bit to be desired.
Yeah, I mean, you're a bad ref away, a bad New York not knowing what they're doing, as is shown every single Sunday across the NFL, from that being a touchdown. Like, I didn't know if they were going to overturn it or not when they first went to replay.
Honestly, they shouldn't have, in my opinion. I don't think that they actually touched him. I felt like, yes, Joe Mixon made contact with him. He fell to the ground as he was getting that ball, but it wasn't like it was a catch. You know, technically, he didn't have, I think, complete possession of the ball until he hit the ground.
I didn't think they were going to overturn it. Like, they were talking about on the broadcast, they were like, he might have grazed his shoulder. So the Texans got saved by a graze this weekend.
And I honestly don't think it was conclusive to overturn. I'm thankful they did. And it's just one of those things where, yet again, you felt like this game was in complete control the whole way. But if you look at the scoreboard once, you would have said, damn, what the hell? This is a game where the quarterback that you went up against was 2 for 15 in the first half. He threw a terrible interception that set you up for a touchdown. He did have one completion. It was a 69-yard touchdown. The Texans do seem to do that a lot against Anthony Richardson. But a game where that quarterback plays as poorly as he did, even checks out of the game because he is out of wind, because he is running for his life from that Texans defensive line. Honestly, Joe, I kind of empathize with him to a degree. He got sacked 5 times. He is the whole Colts offense. I know Jonathan Taylor actually had a pretty good game, but they should have been running the football with him more, and I kind of get why he would be gassed. You can't check out of the game, and you have to lie in that spot. He was pointing at his head. I thought he had a concussion, but that guy stunk, and you barely won this game.
Yeah, he was terrible. I mean, it was 10 for 32. You're lucky to win. This feels like a little bit of a repeat of week 1, where if you're playing a competent quarterback, you would have lost this game. That's why I get why Texans fans are unsure of this team, because I don't know what to make of them. The only thing that, like, this season, every season's crazy in the NFL. We know it, but the Texans are 6-2, and as weird as it is and as down as it feels at the same time, we watched the Baltimore Ravens lose to the Cleveland Browns and Jameis Winston yesterday. So you've even, done a better job of securing your spot in the playoffs right now as the 2 seed. it's unbelievable that they've won all these games and such heart attack fashion for 2 seasons now. Like, you would think at some point karma's going to walk up and kick them in the ass, and they're going to start losing these games.
Well, how is karma going to kick them in the ass, though?
Sports karma.
Well, it's not like they've done anything wrong. It's not like they traded for a 27-time sexual misconductor.
And they bring in other guys with questionable character.
Yeah, Joe Mixon.
the best player on the field.
Joe Mixon, the best player on the field.
Basically every time he's on the field, yeah.
There's a person I posted something that Joe Mixon said after the game. We'll toss to it in a moment. And this one person said, like, and then he punched a blonde woman in the face right afterwards in response to that. This person, unhinged, legitimately said that same exact line to every single post from a Houston Texans media member about Joe Mixon yesterday. It was just all day long.
That's
the man is committed.
That's not strange behavior.
Yeah, he's got an online crusade going on, but Joe Mixon said something after the game, and he is right. Here is Joe Mixon talking about the Texans at 6-2.
When our team on, like, we do with the best of them. You know what I'm saying? There ain't nobody out here that can literally just line up with us and feel like they could just impose their will. Like, we really living like that, honestly. Like, you know, but at the same time, we got to show that. We got to put it together and finish when given opportunity. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like I said, man, I'm not worried about, you know, oh, we didn't finish this, we didn't finish that. That's what practice come in for. We got to go correct that in practice. And I believe that we'll do them little corrections. And when that time comes, when we're in that opportunity again, we got to show why, you know what I'm saying, guys can't really line up. Because, I mean, we got weapons everywhere. We got the team that we need. You know what I'm saying? So we just got to do whatever we can to finish. And that's what this game is all about. You know, DeMeco talk about it all the time, straining. And, you know, fortunately, like I said, all 4 quarters we was able to do that and come up with the dub. And to be real, that's all that matters. Nothing else matters but the dub.
He is right that nothing else matters but the dub. But he's also saying we got to learn to finish. And that practice will take care of that. 8 weeks into the season, that hasn't been the case.
No, it hasn't, and I don't want to hear it anymore. I'm over the.
You're done.
I'm done with it. Like you keep preaching to the choir that we're gonna get better, we're gonna fix it, communication, blah 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 blah. No, they won't. They will not. This is who the Houston Texans are, and I think we all just have to come to grips with that.
See, I don't want to co-sign that though.
But it's right. But I'm
this
right.
is loser Bears mentality.
No, but I'm not. But they keep winning. I'm right, but they keep winning. They keep finding a way to win these incredible football games.
I'm right, but they keep winning.
They do. They
Classic sports talk show.
They
host.
keep saying they're gonna, fix their problems, and they don't fix them.
I would respect them more if they're just like, we got nothing to work on. 6-2. You are what your record says you are. Like, at some point, one of these teams has to actually beat us.
This is DeMeco Ryans after the game too. Right away, asked about some of the protection issues and things that the Texans were not able to clean up in this game. This is what DeMeco says right away.
First and foremost, just really proud of our team and the way they battled today. Just, man, we talked about how hard this was going to be. Like, tough opponent, like division opponent, know each other well. They battle, really good team. So I'm just proud of all of our guys for finding a way to get the win. That's the most important thing.
He is right. Everything that you heard from Joe Mixon and DeMeco Ryans is correct. And I just am going to repeat this as much as I can. They are 6-2. They are 6-0 in conference. They are 3-0 in the division. They have swept the only challenger to them in the AFC South. The Ravens just had a bad loss today to the Cleveland Browns. That's one of the teams that you're trying to catch up to. You've beaten the Buffalo Bills, who had yet another blowout victory. They are a different team with Amari Cooper. You are towards the top, and you're doing everything you're supposed to when it comes to the scoreboard. And yet the scoreboard is the thing that is driving all of us the most insane, because the scoreboard should have a bigger difference between them and the team that they're playing. It is a fascinating place to be in. I see some of the comments, and people are right. I don't want to sound like I am bitching and moaning about this. As somebody who, like, my Super Bowl as a Patriots fan was beating the Jets yesterday. God, things are really bad there. For Joe, things are moving in the right direction for your Bears.
Yeah.
But yesterday sucked, right? You got to appreciate games like
100%.
this.
You have to. The Texans deserve a lot of credit for being a 6-2 football team in the NFL.
We can all say but without actually saying it aloud. We could say but under our breath. We could say but under the table, however you want to do it. But the butt is in the room. It is a juicy butt.
Everyone's looking at it.
Everyone's looking at it. I can't
ignore it.
I can't stop looking at that butt. And it's not even the kind of butt that you want to look at, And listen, I'm an ass man. I like butts. But I'm talking about one of those things that's been just stuffed with all sorts of filling. We're talking BBL, where I do not know how this person's ass is sticking out a full foot behind them. And I don't know how I could rest an effing champagne glass on it. But honestly, I could. I can't stop looking at it. I don't want it. It's too much. It's too much. Call me gay. It's too much. I don't want it. But it's there. And we all know it's there. And I can't appreciate it. I see it and I'm fascinated by it and annoyed by it.
Fascinated.
Yes.
I'm fascinated by this team.
They are. They're one of the more. They're a bizarre football team. To have this record and to constantly find a way to win football games when all you do is shoot yourself in the foot week after week, it's incredible. I hope Joe Mixon's right. I hope they actually put it together at some point and just beat the crap out of somebody in 2 weeks. Or I don't know, they might have to score 50 points to beat the Detroit Lions on Sunday Night Football in 2 weeks. But I want to see them put it together. I can't wait to see Nico Collins back on the field with Joe Mixon at the same time and healthy, and how good this offense is going to look. But right now, it's just how do they keep doing this? How do they keep surviving in this way?
They deserve credit for it. DeMeco's right. They should be proud of it. They keep on surviving.
They are, Joe Mixon is right. The most important thing is that they won. You would rather them play like this and be 6-2 than us being man, this team is awesome, and they're 3-5 or 4-4.
This is way better.
This is better than that, but it's also not super enjoyable. This is where, Paul, I always think about was it 2018 where they won 8 straight games?
Yes,
9 straight games?
9. It was 9.
And everyone was like, I feel like this is basically a redo, or a full season redux of that, where they're 6-2. They're alone, or I guess they're tied, but they have the tiebreaker over who they're tied with for second in the AFC. Like you said, I'm sure if we're doing Baltimore Ravens radio, we would also be enraged by the team. But this is who they are, where they just win games in the least convincing way possible.
I'm going to read something that someone that was in the organization frustratedly texted me once way back in the day. I think it is such BS that Houston is so negative. I think people should enjoy this team. That is what I think. That was during the 9-game winning streak. I remember getting that from a person who works with the organization. And I was like, did not first off expect to get that text
out of the blue.
And I also agreed with them, but this is where it is. There's just this big butt in the room, and we can't stop looking at it because honestly, we're kind of wondering, is there any of the gel leaking from the filler?
It's not sustainable.
Can it fart? We don't know. It's just there.
And they're no different than the Kansas City Chiefs right now. The Kansas City Chiefs.
They're undefeated.
No. Hear me out. The Kansas City Chiefs keep winning a lot of football games in a really ugly fashion, and it makes no logical sense. How are they the last undefeated team in the NFL? The difference is they get the benefit of the doubt because they've won 2 Super Bowls in a row, and the Texans are the Texans. That's the only difference.
Other than the 2 Super Bowls and the 20-something years of no history, yes.
The way they're playing this season, the 2 top teams in the AFC are both playing pretty poor football, but collectively have 13 wins between the 2 of them. And the Texans are the team that we have all these questions about because it's just bizarre.
They're the Jesse Pinkman All-Stars, the 2 teams. How do they keep getting away with this? Just the Chiefs and the Texans. I don't know what the updated numbers are, but you look at Pat Mahomes' numbers and you're like, oh, that's not that great. That's actually kind of bad quarterback numbers. And you still ask anyone who's the best quarterback in the league, Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, you still do it. But it's funny because you look at his numbers and
they're worse than Bo Nix's.
Yikes.
But it's a butt with Mahomes that
you like to look at.
It's better done. It's a better quality.
It is it's not botched.
The Texans' butt is this. We don't think this person went to the top shelf doctor. Okay, yeah. This person might have found someone on Craigslist, and they might be in danger. Those surgeries can result in some serious problems, right? So that's where we're at. I hope you guys appreciated that analogy. It just came to me. Sometimes
It's good.
I just
Who knows where you pulled that from?